Tonight on Cronkite News, new information on what Arizona voters are really looking for in this year's election.
Plus, how political leaders from both sides are reacting to last night's vice presidential debate.
And Arizona State football looks to get back on track this week against the University of Kansas. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Wilder Adams.
And I'm Anna McClure. Thank you for joining us.
With about 5 weeks until the election, candidates are ramping up the attacks.
But as Lauren Bly explains, what Arizona voters really want is for the leaders to find common ground.
Tuesday night, we saw something a bit unusual in the vice presidential debate. Two rivals actually agreeing with each other.
Our hearts go out to the families that are affected by this terrible stuff, and we do have to do better. And I think that Governor Walz and I actually probably agree that we need to do better on this. The question is just how do we actually do it?
I've enjoyed tonight's debate, and I think there was a lot of commonality here.
Governor Tim Walz and Senator J.D. Vance did squabble over January 6th abortion rights in Iran, but they each went out of their way to show voters they agree on parts of policy issues such as gun violence, immigration, and trade. That's something Arizona voters crave. Over 90% say they're worried about political divisiveness in a new survey from the Center for the Future of Arizona and High Ground Public Affairs.
A vast majority do not believe that our elected officials are focused on the issues that they care most about and are not discussing the topics that they'd like to hear about. So much of politics these days is really focused on, the divide and conquer mentality.
This survey finds plenty of consensus across the political spectrum. About half of Arizona high school students continue their studies, and 85% of voters want the state to do a better job on that. This year, the legislature made big cuts to higher education, and 79% of voters put a high priority on that funding. Even on immigration, most support a pathway to citizenship and tougher border securities, and want the two sides to come together.
We found that not only do Arizonans agree on the big important issues like education, like funding for education, that we should prioritize investment in universities, that we should have a strong K-12 education system.
Voters say they want leaders who will work across the aisle, even if that's not who they elect. In Washington, Lauren Bly, Cronkite News.
According to Nielsen, 43 million people watched last night's debate, which is down from the 57 million people who watched the vice presidential debate in 2020.
Meanwhile, we're hearing about what viewers thought of last night's debate. CNN conducted a poll with 500 registered voters after the debate. 51% said that Vance won the debate and 49% said that Walz won. Leaders from both sides also weighed in.
I think Vice President Harris's reaction is the same as voters across the country, independent voters in particular, and those undecideds who saw Governor Walz lay out a very clear vision for where he and the vice president want to take this country, and saw that opposite the dangerous, chaotic, dark vision that J.D. Vance was propagating.
What J.D. Vance laid out last night is a very different vision than what Tim Walz and Kamala Harris want to say. So, look, we can go back and relitigate the 2020 election, or we can look at what we can do to make America better for everyday Americans who are struggling under Bidenomics.
After the debate, both Senator J.D. Vance and Governor Tim Walz headed to different swing states where they revisited key moments of the debate.
Here in the Valley, the weather isn't cooling down. While some people expect to feel the weather dropping, Phoenix keeps breaking heat records. Elizabeth Klein joins us from the Weather Center to break down this extreme heat we're experiencing.
Phoenix has broken yet another record temperature. The temperature yesterday was recorded of a high at 113. Now, this is the hottest October temperature on the record. The previous record was 107. Phoenix also broke the record low this morning. The temperature was recorded at 86 degrees. The normal for this time of year is 72. This breaks the previous record of 83 set back in 1997. Stay tuned for my full forecast.
Phoenix has released its first Climate Action Plan progress report. The report highlights what the city has done regarding reducing greenhouse gas emissions and air pollution, expanding clean energy, water conservation, and more. According to the report, greenhouse gas emissions for government organizations have gone down 29%. There have been increased installations of renewable energy systems, including new solar arrays at the Phoenix Sky Harbor. The Cool Corridors initiative will create shade structures along pedestrian paths, including planting more than 6,400 trees.
The World Wildlife Fund says poachers kill about 20,000 elephants for their tusks. Toss the Tusk is an effort to address the elephant ivory trade. Cronkite News reporter Ignacio Ventura tells what actions they are taking in Arizona to protect animals.
This is Indu, the almost 60-year-old elephant living at the Phoenix Zoo. She enjoys eating. Zoo worker Stevie Murner says Indu is a great ambassador for her species.
We are able to reach a lot of people in Phoenix and around the surrounding states. You know, we are able to educate them more because she's here.
The Association of Zoos and Aquariums partnered with the Phoenix Zoo and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to encourage the community to surrender ivory, which is obtained through the killing of elephants. Dan Ash, president and CEO of the association, says ivory can be found in many items.
The challenges with ivory are mostly that for centuries, ivory has been commercially traded. So it's amazing how many products contain ivory, from bracelets, necklaces, trinkets that you would display on your bookcases.
Elizabeth Schneider says she learned from an appraiser that her products could possibly be ivory, so she came to surrender the items.
The gentleman looked at the pieces that confirmed that they were ivory, said that he would take them. He gave me this form to fill out, which has my name, my address, and I signed it.
Karen Ford turned in a pair of ivory earrings passed down from a family member.
They're beautiful. I always felt too guilty to wear them. My uncle gave them to my mother long before I was born.
Former State Representative Richard Andrade sponsored bills intended to tackle the sale of ivory products.
It should be donated to a museum or another entity like a museum and stuff like that, because once again, all you're doing is driving the price up on ivory to which in a way creates another demand for it.
As a female Asian elephant, Indu doesn't have the long tusks. Her presence still serves an important role in animal conservation efforts. In Phoenix, Ignacio Ventura, Cronkite News.
The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service says those who could not surrender their animal-related items can hand them over at one of the agency's offices.
Coming up next, a local woman who has fallen in love with beekeeping.
But she's not doing it out in the country. She's doing it right in the center of the city.
After the break, what makes urban beekeeping different than commercial, and why local beekeeper is pushing for more regulation.
2, 1.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut. Coming up on the cut.
How students can build their broadcast journalism portfolio with opportunities to learn more about on-air reporting and studio production.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at @thecut_network and on X @cutASU.
3, 2, 1. Cronkite News. Get real professional experience in areas such as reporting, broadcast editing, and behind-the-scenes production, such as technical director and audio.
Kill the mics.
Or go out in the field and cover important local stories.
Learn and master the English language
In a fun, welcoming atmosphere. Cronkite News. The future starts now.
Innovation at the Walter Cronkite School is pushing the boundaries of traditional journalism.
Storytelling has evolved over the years. This is part of that evolution.
Students in the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Lab are using emerging technology to create scenes in augmented and virtual reality, coding playable games, and bringing the audience into the story.
They're only limited by their imagination and their willingness to learn.
Find out more at cronkite.asu.edu.
Welcome back to Cronkite News. Urban beekeeping, is on the rise.
But with growth comes potential problems. Cronkite News reporter Stella Subasic spoke with a local beekeeper who is pushing for more regulation to keep humans and bees safe.
We started our company in 2011, and I'm very blessed. I wouldn't be a beekeeper without my husband. I'm tired of working corporate, so this is what I do full-time now. We bought a farm in Missouri, a state we no longer lived in, and we started with 200 hives, which is a lot. It's kind of more on my own terms, so it's nice. And as bizarre as it sounds, it's actually very relaxing. Small scale, I will say. Hobby level, much more relaxing than commercial. I will say in Arizona, we are very deregulated when it comes to beekeeping, which is good and bad. It's good for me because it allows me to do virtually what I want, although, you know, I try to be a good neighbor, good beekeeper. In an urban setting, if you're gonna have bees, you really, in my opinion, need to truly manage them versus bee watching. Beekeeping versus bee watching, very different games, because the killer bees, the Africanized ones, are no joke. I mean, they are significant, and I do know people that keep them on purpose because they produce really good honey, and no other honeybee colony is going to rob them out because honeybees actually steal each other's honey if they can. So they're like, no, they're big and strong. Yes, but on the liability side of things, God forbid they hurt somebody. You know, it's not insignificant, and every year it happens. Unfortunately, and that's just the reality of where we live. Every southern state has those genetics, so at a minimum, I feel like we should regulate that. I tend to appreciate less regulation than more, but some framework is not a bad idea.
Depending on the health of the bees, a bee colony could harvest up to 100 pounds of honey in a successful year. Last time I checked, we're supposed to be in the fall season, but it still feels like the summer.
I totally agree with you, Wilder. Even though we're in the month of October, the temperatures have yet to fall. Elizabeth Klein joins us now from the Cronkite Weather Center to tell us what's going on.
As we look into tonight, those temperatures will not go below the triple digits until about 8 p.m. when we hit 98. Now, overall, the sky's looking pretty clear, so if you are going out for a walk tonight, make sure you bring plenty of water and wait until the sun goes down at about 7. Now, those lows for tomorrow are going to be pretty comfortable. Phoenix at 78. Then we've got those mid to upper 70s along much of the western portion of the state. Then up north, Window Rock will be sitting at 36 and Flagstaff 40. When we look at those high temperatures, though, tomorrow, it still will be fairly warm. Phoenix at 109, then those 109, 110s along the western portion of the state. Then as we look to the north, we'll see some slight relief at Window Rock, and Flagstaff will be sitting at 84. Now, these temperatures are still so high for this time of year because Arizona is sitting under a massive ridge. Now, a ridge means it's high pressure and the air is sinking, which prevents thunderstorms and clouds from forming, which would help cool the air. Now, if we look, this ridge extends all the way into the Pacific Ocean. Now, since this is so large, it will remain fairly stationary, and those temperatures will still be pretty warm over the next couple of weeks. Now, as we look into the weekend, it still will be hovering around the 109, 110 range. But as we look into next week, we'll still be high, but once we reach Tuesday, it'll decrease slightly at about 106. Now, these temperatures are still higher than normal for this time of year. In the Cronkite Weather Studio, I'm Elizabeth Klein.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams was in court today for a hearing before his trial. Yesterday, prosecutors said they may bring additional charges against Adams and indict others in his corruption case. Last week, Adams pleaded not guilty to accepting gifts, including allegedly accepting free flights and hotel stays. Prosecutors say these travel benefits were arranged by a senior Turkish diplomat attempting to influence the mayor. In the wake of these charges, the mayor says he has no plan to step down and resign from office and is hopeful the charges will be cleared. Coming up next, the D-backs look ahead to the offseason after barely missing the playoffs.
Yep, Wilder, the Diamondbacks will look to improve this offseason to prepare for the 2025 season. Coming up after the break, we take a look at what to expect from the Snakes this winter.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut. Coming up on the cut.
How students can build their broadcast journalism portfolio with opportunities to learn more about on-air reporting and studio production.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram @thecut_network and on X @cutASU.
3, 2, 1. Cronkite News. Get real professional experience in areas such as reporting, broadcast editing, and behind-the-scenes production, such as technical director and audio.
Kill the mics.
Or go out in the field and cover important local stories.
Learn and master the English language.
In a fun, welcoming atmosphere. Cronkite News. The future starts now.
Hello and welcome back to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm your host, Sam Dayton. ASU football returns to Mountain America Stadium for the first time in nearly a month when the Sun Devils host Kansas. There have been a few ups and downs for the Sun Devils, but one thing has remained steady, and that has been the play of quarterback Sam Leavitt. Throughout the first 4 games of the season, Leavitt has led the Sun Devils' offensive attack to a 3-1 start and top 50 scoring offense in the nation. The freshman has thrown for over 200 passing yards in each of the first 3 games this season, already matching last season's win total. While senior running back Cam Scadaboo continues to gain national attention, for Coach Dillingham, it's his quarterback's ability to control the offense and spread the ball around the field that has been a difference maker for ASU.
When you look at what Sam's done through 4 games of starting in college football, it just depends on how you look at the picture, because some people could look at that picture and say, oh my gosh, this dude's the superstar in the making. He's thrown for 250 in 3 of the games. They let him do it. He's only turned it over twice in 4 games. He evades, he scrambles. Then the other side is, they flip it over. He's missed that throw. He's missed that throw. That's the beautiful thing about sports, is beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
The Arizona Diamondbacks fell just short of the playoffs, leaving fans and the organization asking tough questions about what went wrong. Cronkite News reporter Aaron Nemerov joins us from the sports newsroom with more on where the Diamondbacks go from here.
The D-backs are still trying to figure that out. After winning more regular season games than they did last year, management is still analyzing what went wrong. While the pitching staff showed flashes of promise, inconsistency ultimately cost the team a postseason berth. General Manager Mike Hazen reflects on where things went wrong.
I feel like this was a veteran group of starting pitchers. We had some young kids take a few steps forward for sure. But I don't know where it went sideways, but it's obvious. There's no hiding where sort of everything kind of lines up on how we ranked in a lot of the ways that we played, and our pitching needed to be better.
Team owner Ken Kendrick told 98.7 Arizona Sports that signing pitcher Jordan Montgomery was a mistake, calling it one of the biggest blunders of the season. Hazen acknowledged the challenges Montgomery faced, but expressed confidence in a turnaround for next year.
I understand why we made that decision at the time, and I believe that Jordan Montgomery is going to have a better year next year. And I think for whatever myriad of factors went into this year and it ended up the way it didn't work out. It didn't work out. But I also think next year is going to look a lot different.
Montgomery has a player option and will most likely stick with the team, as the D-backs are on the hook to pay him $22.5 million. Expect the starting rotation to mainly stay the same. They could make changes in the bullpen. As for the offense, expect major changes to this roster, as Christian Walker, Jock Peterson, and Randall Grichuk are all free agents. From the Sports Bureau, Aaron Nemiroff, Cronkite News.
Former Sun Devil first baseman and #1 overall pick Spencer Torkelson made his playoff debut yesterday with the Detroit Tigers. Torkelson went hitless in Game 1 of the Wild Card Series, but drew a pair of walks to help the Tigers in their 3-1 win over the Astros. Torkelson snagged a line drive to record the final out of Game 1. The Tigers beat the Astros again today and are headed to the ALDS to face the Cleveland Guardians. There are many run clubs in Arizona, but there is a new run club in town called BLK AZ Run Club. This club focuses on encouraging a healthy community and bringing people of color together.
BLK AZ Run Club officially started in June of this year and is rapidly growing, with hundreds of people already coming out every weekend. The club promotes healthy connections and even dating. They have wristbands for runners that indicate whether they are looking for love or just friendship.
We just wanted to create a space for people of color just to come and find community and be able to pursue health and fitness.
People are ditching dating apps and are actually joining run clubs right here in Arizona. Black Arizona Run Club is a new popular club right here that run every Sunday at Tempe Town Lake. They are here not only encouraging a community, but also encouraging dating.
It's probably better to find a partner at a run club versus the actual club, right? So just, again, wanted to create a safe and healthy space for it.
BLK AZ Run hosts multiple events every month to connect people. Additionally, Black-owned businesses are at every event to uplift and promote the Black community here in Arizona.
This space will allow the local small businesses to be able to grow in a very organic way and not feel pressured by anything. You know, you're just hanging out, being with the community, meeting with people where they are. So it's been really, really cool.
This run club is creating a space for people to come and connect with others who are striving towards their similar goals. This group provides a supportive environment where runners of all levels can find encouragement, advice, and camaraderie.
It has completely changed my life. Some of the ladies come out with me to run with me. When I was in cancer treatments, they came and sat bedside with me. They prayed with me. If I needed someone just to call in the middle of the night, these groups, people united and come together.
A healthy hobby plus connecting to other people within the community is a win-win. In Phoenix, Iman Abraham, Cronkite News.
The Run Club is expanding quickly as they just opened a BLK Run Club in Las Vegas and are hoping to start more run clubs across the country. ASU's very own Aliyah Haroon made a splash on the world stage this summer, bringing home bronze medals in both the 100-meter and 200-meter butterfly events at the Paris Olympics. Haroon swam for Team Canada and set national records in Paris. He's now back in Tempe for another season with the Sun Devils. Specializing in freestyle and butterfly, Haroon hopes to lead ASU to back-to-back NCAA titles. His performance this past summer marks a major milestone in his young career as he continues to represent ASU on the world stage.
And an honor to be there, you know, representing a country and just performing at that stage is absolutely crazy. You know, I loved it, you know. It did take me some time to actually I actually was there.
And the Sun Devils kick off their season this weekend at home against UNLV. That's all for the Cronkite Sports Report. Now back to Wilder and Anna.
Coming up next, Coldplay tickets are on sale for their shows in India.
They're on sale, but for how much? Find out after the break, and find out why police are conducting a fraud investigation.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
this is Sun City Garage,
to sports coverage,
against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news.
The bill also gives parents the ability to sue.
And entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
Innovation at the Walter Cronkite School is pushing the boundaries of traditional journalism.
Storytelling has evolved over the years. This is part of that evolution.
Students in the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Lab are using emerging technology to create scenes in augmented and virtual reality, coding playable games, and bringing the audience into the story.
They're only limited by their imagination and their willingness to learn.
Find out more at cronkite.asu.edu.
Welcome back to Cronkite News. Tickets for Coldplay shows in Mumbai, India sold out in minutes.
After they sold out, the tickets are being resold for insane prices. On September 22nd, tickets for the 3 concerts in Mumbai sold by the official vendor Book My Show. After all the tickets sold on that site, they started popping on other platforms, some selling for $11,000. Mumbai police are questioning the founder and CEO of Book My Show over fraud allegations.
That's it for tonight's edition of Cronkite News. I'm Wilder Adams.
And I'm Anna McClure. Thank you for joining us.